Hello, adventurers of all shapes and sizes. My name is Chance. Welcome to my Spellbook, and thank you so much for tuning into the 53rd episode of our Feat series. Does your character have the desire to be able to just ping people from across the battlefield with a barrage of arcana hellfire? If that sounds like your character, or if you just really don't like being in combat, and if you really don't like missing, then this feat might be for you. Today we're going to be taking a look at Spell Sniper. This classic among classics. This is one of the most popular feats in the game, for the record, and you'll see why a little bit later on here. It is found in the Player's Handbook, so we should all have access to it, which is just phenomenal. With that hyped up intro out of the way, let's take a look at the description and break this down just a little bit. So, first and foremost, there is a prerequisite for this feat, and that is that you have to be able to at least cast one spell, which makes sense logically. Spell Sniper kind of implies that you need to be able to cast spells. In this case, you only need one. Preferably more, but one is the bare minimum. Then this feat reads as followed. You have learned techniques to enhance your attacks with certain kinds of spells, gaining the following benefits. When you cast a spell that requires you to make an attack roll, the spell's range is doubled. Your ranged spell attacks ignore half cover and 3/4 cover. Super cool. You learn one cantrip that requires an attack roll. Choose the cantrip from the bard, sorcerer, warlock, druid, cleric, wizard spell lists. Your spellcasting ability for this cantrip is charisma, wisdom, or intelligence, respectively, based on the spell's list. Super, super cool stuff. Let's break it down a little bit further. First and foremost, what a cool spell. So, first, so long as there's an attack roll involved, the range is doubled. That is crazy. It might be worth noting that this doesn't apply to AoE, it doesn't apply to debuffs, it just strictly applies to ranged attacks. So pretty cool stuff there. The ignoring half and 3/4 cover, super beneficial as well. Really helps you gain access to a lot of cool kind of trick shots, means people can't hide from you as easily, stuff like that. And then you gain a cantrip out of the deal too. Be aware there's a little bit of a restriction on it, and that is the cantrip has to be able to make an attack roll. So Eldritch Blast is a pretty solid one. Thorn Whip would be another one. Under the right circumstances, I could see someone going with Blade, or Booming Blade, or Green Flame Blade. You can pick them as a cantrip, although they would not work with that spell attack range. But in any case, super cool stuff there. Let's take a look at my personal thoughts on it. I really like this one. I really do. I can see why it's so popular among the casting. The ability to ignore half and 3/4 cover is probably the coolest part. There's ways to get to ridiculous range on a lot of spells as well, but I find, in my experience at least, most encounters don't usually happen over that long of a range to begin with. So it's a little bit of a... I guess it'd be nice to have, but I personally haven't found myself relying on it very much. If you had more of a naval campaign where you're on ships and there's enemy pirates and stuff like that, then I could see it being a little bit more useful. In terms of who gains the most from this, I think the obvious winner is the warlock. I really do. I think it is... This spell, or feat rather, seems built for the Eldritch Blast spell in more ways than not, so I really like that. Close second would be the wizard, just due to their variety. After that, probably the cleric for the same reason, due to the variety. Then druid, and then bard after that. The tricky thing about the bard is a lot of their damaging related spells, they actually require a check. They don't make an attack roll, so it's not really applicable under this. So the bard probably gains from it the least. at least in my opinion. So to list it out, warlock, wizard, sorcerer, cleric, druid, bard would probably be the order I'd put it in. Outside of that, I could see the Eldritch Knight maybe getting some interesting usage out of this, just primarily because of that ignoring cover benefit. In any case, if you have any crazy ideas for Spell Sniper, any cool builds or combos you've heard of in the past, or any cool stories about it, or any thoughts even, please put it down in the comments beneath. I love reading them, and I know everyone else tuning in does as well. Thank you so much once again, and as always, happy adventuring.